Here we go.
Ooh, it's time.
Do.
Off to the races.
Yeah, this is going to be...
I would like to interrupt you.
Oh, boy. You know, we do nearly all of these, just about all of these off the cuff.
Because they're just supposed to be
I know.
conversations.
I think they are fully. I think every single one of them has been off the cuff.
But this one's a doozy.
It's true.
I'm really excited to see where this one goes because obviously we briefly mentioned the topic right before. It's not like we start recording like, okay, what are we going to do?
We know the title, but
very, very briefly what we're going to talk about. And this one,
it's a mystery.
I got nothing. So let's see what comes out.
Oh, it's going to be good.
All right. Interruption versus invitation?
As
an invitation. Okay.
interruption as invitation.
Okay, so the idea being, if we look at the life of Jesus, he was interrupted a lot.
Very often.
In
Frequently.
the life of his ministry, he's trying to do this one thing, and then he gets interrupted, but then it becomes an invitation into something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of cool every time.
And then I think we have to reflect on ourselves because we can see it over and over again in the life of Jesus. And then obviously if we're sitting here and potentially if you're listening to us, you're curious about the life of Jesus and how that can look like for you. So then you should probably ask yourself the question, am I an interruptible person?
Well, I mean, often I find interruptions quite annoying. And even I would say interruptions are like, often if people are interrupting you, you're kind of like, that person's kind of, what's the word? Inconsiderate.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
You know?
I was going for more like harshing your vibe. I'm like,
Or
I don't know. What are
maybe.
you looking
No,
for?
Just like,
No,
you know, like if somebody's constantly interrupting you.
Yeah.
Now, the way you're speaking, it sounds like the interruptions you're talking about is interruptions in conversation. Like you're
Well,
speaking
I'm sure
and
there's other ones. Like I just cut you off right there.
That's an example of one live. But I like the ones, I'm sure, again, Jesus was interrupted while speaking, but also he was interrupted mid-task for different tasks or
I'm just thinking
things
about
such there as.
the concept of interruption to me seems more negative than positive. So like if I'm on a task and something, I'm trying to get something done and someone comes and interrupts me, that's generally, you're just like, I'm trying to get this thing done. Why are you interrupting me?
Generally, it's super annoying. Yeah.
How do you think about interrupting?
well, yeah, it's funny because where my mind went first was less about conversation interruptions and more about like task-based interruptions. Like say you're working on a project or you're doing something, you're on task and somebody interrupts the flow you're in. But then with that thought, I was thinking that perhaps like the invitation, perhaps maybe we'll go into like interruption as I don't know if this is extreme, like the AED paddles, like, when your heart or a regular heartbeat, like it is momentarily interrupted to get it back on track. Or what was the other example I was thinking of? Like a computer reboot or something. When something, perhaps my mind is wandering, perhaps we can be on task that isn't quite the task we need to be on. And the interruption as an invitation, an interruption, like what initially looks like an interruption, an annoyance, somebody being inconsiderate. After the fact, you look back and you're like, oh, I'm glad that kind of snapped me out of my whatever I was in. It could have been, I wasn't being quite as productive as I thought I was, or I could have been working on or doing something that wasn't truly bringing me life. It's like, thank God that person came before it got any worse and interrupted.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of the story where Jesus is preaching, like, he's teaching the people, he's preaching, and what must it have been like in the moment when this interruption comes where they literally are opening up the roof. Like they're destroying the building, essentially. Like they're opening up
Dust
the roof.
is falling in his eyes.
I imagine rubble or like some bits would have to start falling.
It's like straw and mud. Like it's not.
I'm imagining that there's some construction falling down on people. So that's like your middle of sermon. I don't know how many preachers have been in the middle of their sermon and the roof is opened up. And then, people are like looking and then all of a sudden you see this body being lowered down into this situation. It's a pretty wild interruption.
Yeah. Doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, but I think the idea is, I mean, maybe in these interruptions, obviously Jesus is modeling to us what does it look like to be in tune with the Spirit of God that lives within him, the Holy Spirit, and what do we do in these moments? And so he was on task, I guess, as far as God sent him here for on a mission. But in those moments, he seems to be able to take advantage and step into this new space. So here, I'm assuming the goal was to preach this sermon and teach the people, but then we have this opportunity that opens up where he heals the paralytic.
Yeah. I have one that came to mind in a recent interruption experience.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. So in church the other week, there was a gentleman that, I'm assuming it's a fairly common occurrence in churches probably across the nation.
I have never seen it.
Of somebody who just starts like they make their way to the front somehow, usually, and so this one happened. It was a gentleman who made his way to the front and then proceeded to start screaming something out loud of like whatever was taking place on stage. I think there was a girl giving announcements, and he was screaming something about like women should not have a voice in a church, or he was just screaming.
They had to cover their head.
Yeah, it was something. He was like screaming something, and it was disruptive to the entire church service. And then some of the church leaders or some other people like politely escorted the guy out and made sure he's okay. So whatever his issues were aside, there was an interruption that took place, and I feel like the invitation was. It was like this sweet moment of, instead of just, grumbling like, oh, he messed up our service, whatever. It was a sweet moment of having like a heart or compassion towards this person and praying for them. And then even the pastor, when he like got back up and just kind of coached the rest of the people, saying like, hey, if you've never experienced, like sometimes this type of thing happens, we escort him. He's just explaining what just took place, and then saying like, yeah, we bless this guy. Like sometimes people are dealing with things and we just don't understand. But I think it was an awesome opportunity. Like here was a big like service-wide interruption, and it turned into an opportunity to say, oh, you know what, like. There's people among us that are just broken and hurting or whatever, for whatever reason, and it's an opportunity to, instead of ostracize them or go down a negative thought pattern, it's like, here's the entire church service, like basically expressing love towards the person, or like, how much more prayer did that gentleman receive that morning, like people praying for him, than he would have otherwise had he not interrupted the service.
Yeah, I think it is looking for that invitation, right? Because what's your other option? Just ignore it?
Get annoyed?
Yeah, but I think back to, could you imagine if Jesus ignored the paralytic being lowered down? Like just pretend nothing's happening, it would be a really interesting scene.
Or escort leaders decide to escort them out of here.
Get this guy out of here.
So yeah, it is looking for that invitation for sure.
Yeah, I think Jesus's responses to interruption teach me so much about how much I fall short in relationship so often. One of my favorite ones for interruptions specifically is when he's on his way to help Jairus and his sick child, and then is interrupted by this woman, and lady's good now. Like he could have just kept going. It didn't need to happen. She probably didn't want the attention that much either, but he still turns and sits, and it says in the Bible like pretty clearly that she tells him like her whole story, her whole 12-year story. And I cannot tell a 12-year story succinctly to save my life. So like, I know that it would have been a long time, and that the crowd was there and that Jairus was there. And I would have felt, I would have not stopped at all because I had a task at hand and it felt important. And I get so caught up in that, but then Jesus so clearly pivots and shows how important relationship is. And so I think, how many times am I on task and on track, and then something's going on, but I'm making a note to deal with it later because I'm like getting this thing done rather than choosing a relationship first and then trusting that the other things will kind of sort themselves out. And that's where, if I think about Jesus and being interruptible, that's my first thought always is like, oh man, I should be, for someone who like really values being relational, I go, well, I should be more interruptible, because I think I mess that up pretty often.
I think in the context, like how we named this, what is it, interruptions as invitations.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably accurate to say like the interruption would be a negative thing. Like it's something you wouldn't have wished for or hoped for. A thing that happens, because otherwise it would be like an invitation as an invitation, right? Like it's if it's something of a knock at the door and they're like, oh, hey, we have a limo outside for you, whatever. You probably wouldn't really classify that. I wouldn't classify that as an interruption. That's like, oh, look at this amazing.
Sometimes they call them welcome interruptions.
Yeah, well, okay, welcome interruption.
I mean, it depends what you were doing. If you're busy doing something, you're still being interrupted.
Yeah.
So maybe the perspective is that there is an invitation to be found in an interruption, whether it feels good,
positive,
bad,
or negative,
whatever you want to say, right?
Because where my train of thought was going with that is now that we're talking about it, you know, in the beginning, I'm like, I have no idea where I'm going to go with this, right? Like, I don't feel like I have a lot of stories about it. But my mind was going down to the point of like interruptions being negative, which made me think of like, oh, okay, there's probably a lot of potential interruptions in life. The doctor's notice that you or a loved one has a terminal illness, or a notice with your employer or your spouse or whoever, you know, gets notice that, you know, they don't have a job anymore. The eviction notice on the door, like these negative events that turn up in your life as invitations to press into God more and trust. So I was thinking, you know, like, okay, the guy that interrupted, that primed my pumps of thinking of like, wow, interruptions, like things that happen, not just when you're on task, like, oh, hey, I'm working on this project for work, or I'm doing this specific thing, but just life in general. You're on the task of you're doing your life as you normally do. Like you're doing your normal routine and rhythm, and then something comes along and interrupts that, whether it's the illness or the, bless you, whether it's the illness or the notice at work or whatever. And so now you have a choice to make. You've been interrupted, so you can either choose to, you know, go the route of letting that frustrate you or whatever, or pressing in. And so in the instance with, say, the doctor's notice, like how now that you have this interruption, this new information, what is your reaction? How are you going to react? Are you going to press in or give in to whatever fleshly desires?
Well, the interesting thing is if we look at some of these stories where Jesus was interrupted, he often met those interruptions with a miracle. That's the play out. You know, we have the paralytic being lowered and they get healed. We have the woman with the issue of blood who really not really bothering him, really. You know what I mean? Like she's pressing in on him. She touches his garment, but he feels that virtue, that power leave, and she's healed. And he's like, whoa, what's going on here? Like somebody has had the faith to be healed and wants to engage with that person. Right? Or another one talks about, you know, Jesus is like, it's been a long day. He's just going to go hang out with the Lord by himself. And then all of a sudden there's a big crowd that comes. He's like, okay, instead, you know, I'm ready to go chill out with the Lord, with God. And instead he says, and he teaches them. And he teaches them so long that now they're all hungry. And then it's like, okay, well, now we'll multiply the food. You know, like these interruptions are leading to us seeing the character and nature of God, like his kindness, his compassion, and the power of his miracles that come through these interruptions. Like it, again, I think last week we talked about upside down kingdom. Like this seems backwards, right? We get interrupted and we think, well, that's not, we can't get to our destination. This isn't working. Yeah. Jesus gets interrupted and he brings the kingdom. And it's upside down.
What if, would it benefit us to reframe our mindsets to begin looking at interruptions? Because I think we have all been interrupted somehow.
True.
And we will all continue to experience interruptions, right? That's a given, I think, unless you live on a planet by yourself. So interruptions are inevitable. So to reframe our mind of when interruptions come, that pushes us into a place of like, okay, God, what do you have for me in this interruption? Right? Because maybe he does want to perform a miracle, or maybe he does want to minister to somebody. But either way, of instead of, because I would think just left to our normal, like what I said, fleshly desires, I think the normal instinct is to go the negative route, or at least for me it is. Frustrated or whatever, or you feel like, oh man, I was in a groove here and now I've been interrupted. To reframe our mindsets of like, okay, this is an invitation. Is this like, Lord, is this an invitation? And yeah, I wonder what that would begin to lead to panning out in your life.
Well, imagine what it would look like if you had an interruption and then you rewired your brain enough that your expectation was that God would do something miraculous with it. Rather than the expectation being that you're just going to be frustrated. Like, what if you're like, oh, crazy. Okay, God, what do you have for me? Just that shift in expectation could be crazy.
I remember, gosh, this is a long time ago. I was part of a 4-month internship with a ministry. And this ministry, the reason I went and did this internship is because at the time I was reading my Bible and I'm reading about all these miracles and I'm feeling like this doesn't match up with the Christianity I see in the world today. Like I don't get it. Like if this is Jesus, how does that translate to now today? And there was a ministry that they very much did move in miracle signs and wonders. And I remember praying back, like, God, if this is you, like, show me, like, I don't understand. It doesn't, this is not making sense to me. And so I ended up, the Lord opened this door for me to do this internship. And at the end of the internship, so, I mean, in that internship, I saw tons of miracles and saw the Lord move in such powerful ways, like in the Bible. And after, I mean, it was literally 4 months of just, this is what we did. Like we were praying together. We would go to conferences, we'd minister to people. And this was just the reality we lived in for 4 months. And I think when you put yourself in an environment like that for that amount of time, it begins to rewire your brain a little bit. And so I can't remember. No, it doesn't matter. So we were headed back to where I lived, and it was like a 10-hour drive or whatever. And a girlfriend was going to drive me home. I was just going to go back with her. She came and visited for a little while, and then we're heading back. And so we're leaving Abbotsford, and we're going up to Hope, right? And there's this big giant hill. And on the way up, it's raining. Her car starts to overheat, and it basically dies. And we pull over on the side of the road, and I just start giggling. She starts crying because she's come back from this trip. She just went on a trip to like by herself to kind of hang out with Jesus, and it was an incredible moment. But she'd spent this money and now she's come back. Her car's breaking down. She has to get back to work, and she's like, I don't have any money to fix my car. And so she's just like, breaking down crying, and I am laughing and I'm giggling over here because I just had this sense like you're talking about. I'm like, oh God, like something good's about to happen. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is incredible. Like here we are on the side of the road, and she's crying, and I'm like praying to the Lord and praising and so excited that God's about to do something really cool because this is who my God is. That we get interrupted, bad things happen, God's about to shine. Something really cool is going to happen. So we end up coasting back down the hill. I'm like just pulling into town, and we head to the McDonald's and we make some phone calls and stuff like that to try to get things figured out. And that night, I was like, well, at least we can go to the service, because that night there was like a miracle service happening. And so we go back into town, and she's still pretty distraught, but we go to this miracle service, and God moves powerfully. And it was really cool because that night she actually met her husband, who obviously she didn't know was her husband at the time, but they met that night. And, fast forward, they have a happy marriage, amazing kids, the whole deal. And I just, that sense, I'm like, as soon as you told that, I was like, I've had that before.
I felt that feeling
before. And I think it's obviously possible, but it's interesting in this state to be like, being immersed in that atmosphere, like miracles were normal.
Yeah.
And that mindset was normal. Right. And since then I would say, I want to come back to that place of this is normal, right? Like I know it's real. I've seen it. But how does it play out everyday normal? And I think it's interesting, like seeing those miracles and being a part of it. It was like this ministry had established this group of people, and I got to step in and participate. But then it's like, how am I going to develop those things in your own life?
Yeah.
What does that look like to have that culture in your own life? And
they had a culture.
they had a culture of miracles. They really did. And so it is so possible. Like just thinking of having that moment where you're like, oh, wow, something good's about to happen.
Yeah.
That's a fun story. I know I've heard it before. I forgot about it.
I did too.
That's pretty cool.
I did too.
That's fun.
I wonder how many invitations have been lost or just not accepted because we fail to see the invitation in the interruption.
Yeah.
Do you think have either of you experienced like the same type of interruption where you're just like, okay, God, are you trying to tell me something?
Like, who was it in the Bible? He was talking to him.
Oh, and he keeps waking up in his sleep.
Kept getting interrupted
Isaac?
in his sleep.
No.
Eli was the...
Oh.
Was it Elijah?
No.
It was Samuel.
Samuel. You're the winner.
Young guy,
Yes.
Yeah.
But who was it he kept going to?
Eli.
Yes.
Waking him up.
And he said...
Yeah. He goes, that's just
No,
God.
it's not me. Go back and lie down. And then 3 times later, hey, it's the Lord.
Go lie down, and this time...
Take the invitation.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Your servant is listening. Perhaps we need to take that posture.
Truly.
Oh.
It feels audacious, but also I like the idea of starting to think that every interruption is an invitation rather than some special interruptions are, because I don't think it's an interruption. It's never going to feel convenient or with the plan or anything. You're never excited for your car to be broken down on the side of the road, but you're like, if you could develop that as an expectation, and then the answer must be yes. There must have been so many of the same interruptions giving me the same invitation that I've totally missed. I can't think of something.
Yeah. Well, if we look biblically, I mean, can we find it somewhere where Jesus is interrupted and he just kind of
says
ignores it and goes away, right? I mean, we'd have to do a little study, which we haven't, but I'm even thinking about Mary, who the alabaster jar, right? Like that's a full on. He's dining at a table, doing their thing, and she brings this in and anoints his feet and all of this, and the other people are like annoyed. Yeah, they're like, why are you like? She's wasting, and why is she even doing this?
We're trying to eat dinner right now.
Inappropriate.
Imagine how powerful the smell must have been.
Yeah. Hopefully it was a nice smell. But
I'm assuming it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, like just the whole jar being poured out in the room.
And then once again, Jesus just leaning into it, being like she's anointing me for my burial. Like this is for the rest of the time when the gospel is preached, she'll be remembered. Yeah, and he was all about interruptions.
Well, how we talked about on a previous podcast, culture, right? What's the culture that we have within us, and what do we bring into the culture around us? Like imagine that's one of your, whether it's a core value or part of your culture toolkit is you're the type of person that when every interruption comes, the first thing it does is thrust you into the presence of God to say, okay, God, what do you want to do in this situation? So I'm thinking about like a flight delay. You're at the airport, a flight delay of like, okay, God, like here I am.
Where is it?
What am I looking at? I totally wanted to get on this flight and I'm so ready to go home, but here I am. Like, is there somebody you want me to pray for, lay hands on? Yeah.
You're going to have to wait anyway. You might as well use it. Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I like it.
The other part I'm interested in is, what if we flip this? So Jesus was interrupted by people who were hungry, by people that were desperate, by people that were willing to get outside the box and go after something because they believed he was who he said he was. And are we as people willing to be people that interrupt? And I would say our Canadian culture a little bit, we're quite polite, pulls us back. Like we're not known for really going after things and being ones that like interrupt and rocking the boat. But really, those are the ones in all of these stories. That's what Jesus is actually valuing.
Yeah.
He's valuing those that are willing to interrupt whatever's going on and come after him. Right. And so what does that look like? Like, I think of blind Bartimaeus. Like, this is one of my favorite stories. He's blind. He hears that Jesus is going by, and so he gets up and he starts yelling. You know, like, Jesus, like, Son of David, have mercy on me. And the crowd is like, stop it. Like, you're be quiet. Like, leave him alone. Like, and what does he do? He cries out all the more.
Yeah.
Right. He just, forget you guys. Like, the guy's blind and he wants what he wants. And so instead of backing off, like, everyone around him, peer pressure, the whole thing isn't stopping him, because there's something inside of him saying, no, I know that the Son of Man can do something here in my situation, and I'm willing to pay a little bit of a price here. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, he didn't care about his status or what people thought, right? He was so desperate to meet with Jesus, to come into that place, right? And he knew what he wanted. Because, I mean, it's funny to me that Jesus stops and he comes to him and he's like, what do you want? And you're like, what do you mean? What do you want? The guy's blind. Like, you're the guy that heals. Like, what do you?
If I were doing the math, yeah.
Yeah. You're like, obviously he wants to be healed, you know,
Yeah,
but Jesus in his Jesusness,
Like, what do you want?
he asks him, what do you want? And
Yeah.
blind Bartimaeus knew right away, I want to see, you know, and then in that moment, Jesus heals him and his eyes are opened. Well, what would have happened for him if he just didn't cry out, first of all?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't, you know, don't want to interrupt Jesus. He's doing his Jesus business.
Yeah.
Or number two, if when he was told to be quiet, he was.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, it's such an inspiring story to me, because I think often we'll go the quiet route. Okay, well, you know, I guess I just don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to. But yet we're watching miracle after miracle after miracle, where Jesus is essentially rewarding these ones who are willing to do these kind of audacious things, really.
Yeah, and they were specifically audacious in the pursuit of Jesus. Like, I don't think just going around and starting to yell at people and being the worst is like helpful, but I think sometimes we'll pray for something once or twice, and if we don't get it, we just give up or what have you. Like, you're right, our culture is polite and gentle, but I also think it's kind of passive and easily discouraged and all these other things. And you're like, it doesn't even have to be out on the street, but what if I prayed with that much gusto? Like, what if I was that? The God of the universe is interruptible, clearly.
Yes.
So interrupt him with
Yes.
your queries, your desires. If he asks you the question, what is it? What do you want? Do you have an answer? Do you know what you want from him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, think how discouraged that woman with the issue of blood must have been. Right?
Yeah.
All of those years trying to pursue healing. Like, she pursued it. She pursued doctors. She,
Spent all she had.
everything,
Yeah.
put into this just to be made well. And it would have been one thing after another saying, no, it's not working. And then in that culture, she would have been an outcast.
Yeah.
She couldn't have gone anywhere, done anything. Like, when you're bleeding, you can't, you're unclean.
You have your own special section you have to stick
so
to.
it's like,
and,
that's not working out for you.
No.
You know, so you're basically an outcast in society. And here she is, desperate enough,
Yeah.
right? She shouldn't be around these people. She shouldn't be pressing into the throng of people. But she's like, no. You know, there was something. And I would say there's something about Jesus that draws her in. It isn't just she's so tenacious.
Yeah.
It's like, he talks about your faith made you well. Like, there's something in the inside of her that is saying, yeah, press in. Keep going. He's worth it. You know, and it's responding to that inner calling that draws us into that place with him, which is what we want to do. We don't want to numb that out or ignore that. We want to cultivate that and, like you said, like, be willing to interrupt.
Yeah.
What about she was not an Israelite, but the woman, I forget the story, the woman who was talking to Jesus about, she was asking for something, and his answer was like, well, you know, something about dining at the table. And then her response was, well, even the dogs eat the crumbs off the ground under the master's table. And then he applauds her and something
he says
about
healing is for the healing, the bread for the children.
Yeah.
Right? Basically saying, hey, I'm here for the Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
And she's,
Yeah. But she was audacious enough to say, yeah, but even the dogs get the crumbs that fall on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And then he applauds her faith.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's healed. No, that is super interesting how you flip it and you're like, okay, normally we think about the one doing the interrupting is like nuisance and it's something piddly or it's an inconvenience. But what if we're to be the ones that interrupt?
Well, Jesus interrupted too. He interrupted the small market going on at the temple and flipped all the tables, and he interrupted the woman who was so ashamed that she was just going to get water in the middle of the day, and then he bugged her for water. Like, Jesus interrupted people too. So if he can do it, we can do it.
Yeah.
If he did it, we should do it. Is there, as we're processing this and we're thinking and kind of stories are coming up and things like that, is there an interruption or an invitation that you're seeing right now for you or recently where you're like, oh man, there that was?
I think for me, there is just having gone through different seasons in life. So like talking about, the internship and this just being kind of in a, I don't know, maybe a state of more boldness, like van life, I would say as well. We were really in a lot of situations where prophesying over people or stepping out in certain ways became the norm. And then I think through just perhaps a season of disappointment, discouragement, not really sure where we are, what we should be doing, it's easy to dial back. It's easy to lose sight of some of that stuff. Not that I ever stopped believing or seeking after God, but I think just that level of boldness, like anything, if you don't use it, you lose it. Where now, we're involved in a church, and I just have this little bit of stirring where it's like, this is a great opportunity. There's lots of new people coming into this church and getting saved, and just it'd be a really great opportunity just to speak encouraging words like over people, right? And there's something in me that is still hesitant because I think just lack of practice or whatever. And it is that feeling of they're coming to church, they're doing their thing. I don't really want to interrupt. Honestly, if we connect all the dots now as we put this together, it's like, that's kind of weird. Like, what if it just go up and whatever? And again, I'm trying to work on being more friendly and perhaps reach out to people. And I think it is also linked to practicing again, right? Something that was so simple and so easy in the past is like, well, we could do this again, but I haven't been, you know? And I think it's easy to just sit back and observe and not participate and not run after things and not pursue things. Because it's like, honestly, I can show up at church and still be a part of this church and serve and whatever, be on the parking team and do my thing.
Totally.
But at the same time, it's like, that's safe. What is there? Yeah. What is the element of interruption actually what God is inviting us into? And what would happen if we actually did that? It takes a little bit of risk, obviously, and some boldness to go and interrupt people. I think we could use this in the church, but we could use it out on the street. We could use it with coworkers. Like, it really is just that boldness to speak up or to follow what you feel like the Lord is putting on your heart for this person, or to pray for that person, or to, I think it can be really easy just to kind of let the days go by and not think about that stuff.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's easy. So easy to dismiss. But is it possible that your ankle could be an interruption?
My ankle. Yes.
Perfect. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, oh, light bulb moment. Like, your ankle.
Tell me the light bulb.
No.
That's the interruption. It's like, we have a fresh interruption.
People probably
here.
don't know about my ankle since I have not talked about it.
I know.
Yeah, totally.
Tell
Good
the
one.
people.
You're picking up what I'm picking up, Marika.
Okay, tell the people. They're confused right now.
Yeah.
What does my ankle have to do with anything?
Okay, well, how long has it been? 4 weeks?
Not even.
3?
2.5.
Tuesday.
Exactly
it happened
2.
on a
Oh,
Tuesday.
exactly 2.
2 weeks.
Exactly
14
2
days.
weeks. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So on a Tuesday, exactly 2 weeks ago, Amy was doing some pull-ups on the pull-up bar at the gym. and came down, and there was a crash pad, like probably like a
little riser.
6
like a
inch mat.
6-inch squishy mat
Yeah.
gymnasts use to break their fall and make the ground not so hard. So anyway, Amy came off, and then her foot landed on the edge of it, and she rolled her ankle. And this was one of the workouts she was recording. And when we did the instant replay and slowed it down frame by frame, I'm quite surprised the ankle can move that far.
Yeah, rolling the ankle is like a soft term for what that happened.
So basically,
We should find a new language.
Yeah.
basically her foot was
All of my body weight landed on the side on my ankle while it was sideways.
Yeah.
So long story short, basically her foot was a complete 90 degree in the ankle, like
taking on the full body weight.
yeah, 90 degrees, and then I think it's a miracle that nothing was broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I've told Amy a couple times now, it's like that could have easily resulted in plates and screws in your ankle right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case. But it has definitely interrupted you. Because last weekend we were all supposed to go somewhere in Vancouver, and you
True.
guys were going to compete in a competition on a team of 3.
Mm-hmm.
That was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
So instead, I've been invited to baking sourdough bread.
You have been baking a lot of sourdough.
All the sourdough. I'm
Yeah.
not sure that's what the Lord has for me, but
No.
that's what I've done so far.
Yeah. But
What
yeah,
is the invitation?
that's the question.
It has. Do you need a prompt, or you got something fresh there?
No, you go ahead.
Oh yeah, I feel like it stirred up quite a bit of because you have said numerous times you're the type of person, like, you need a project or a task or a goal that you're going after. So before the ankle injury, your first goal was prepping for this competition that took place last weekend. And then after that, it was going to continue training for Legends in Arizona in December. And then probably after that,
Open and just
open
keeps
and
CrossFit
competing for the
going.
CrossFit Games again. So just one competition to the next. And so now with this injury, which interrupted all your training because you've been on crutches,
Mm-hmm.
like it has, I feel like it has caused you, it has taken away these goals of yours, like competition and training and competition and training. And now that you're not able to do that, it's left you feeling kind of adrift. And I think it's opened up a huge door for you to like reassess or to take inventory of what God's calling you into this season.
I would agree. Say the invitation is, how does it work? Maybe it's in the mail. Haven't quite received it yet.
You don't think you have?
I'm not sure what we're being invited to into fully, but I do believe, yes, there is something is coming.
Is there anything you're doing to look for it?
Oh yeah, always.
Nice.
Here's a hot tip. So I'm very much life is very significant. I need to have purpose. I need to have direction. And if I'm working towards something, like it's always purpose, direction, significance.
Mm-hmm.
What's the meaning of life? I have to be adding value to things and all of that. To the point is, here's my hot tip. If you're wired this way, where like you're really wired by purpose and significance and all of that, that we have a rule now that like after 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, we don't try to figure out the purpose of life. We don't try to figure out our significance, and we don't try to figure out the next step to like, what is the vision that God is giving us? Because
No big purchases.
No, it's like, I might do okay on that one. It's just anything on the significance, vision. Like I'm so tied to that. And I'm also always asking that question. That so sometimes I'll start talking and then I'll be like, oh yeah, we don't try to figure out our life's purpose at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
We just go to bed now. So a lot of what's kind of coming together now is I'm just really, since we've done that one podcast about searching for the why and what are my giftings and where do they operate well and how can I use those, and last podcast we talked about, I learned, I'm created to come alongside. So what does that look like?
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of, I'm pretty good at weighing out because I'm all or nothing. So I'm very aware when I go into something, I'm like, I'm in. So I tend to take a little bit of time to weigh out a little bit and go,
To know the cost.
yeah. Is this really, am I going to say yes to this thing? Because I know if I say yes, I will put every part of my being into it, which doesn't leave a lot of room for a ton of other things. So it's like, I'm pretty selective on how many things I say yes to, only because I know I'm wired that way. Like I don't like to halfway things. So we're kind of in this place where the things I've said yes to right now have like kind of disappeared a little bit. I can't really train, and some other, like, it's just not happening the way I thought. And so now I'm like, wow, we got a lot of time, and I'm about ready to say yes to something, but I'm still weighing out parts and pieces, because I'm like, if once I'm in, like all in, maybe to a fault, but I don't know. So yes, weighing it out. So that's just how I think, because I know I'm wired that way. I don't usually say yes to too many things. Yeah. Because I'm like, I want to be all consumed with the thing I say yes to.
That's fun. So maybe it's not that the invitation's in the mail, but you just got like 6 of them. Just and you're like deciding what invitation you're going to take. That's fun. It's hard work.
Now I feel left out over here.
Wow.
Why?
Yeah. Like I don't have a huge interruption story. But then I also think of like, I don't know if I want an interruption story.
It's an like invitation to a miracle.
Yeah, totally.
Does it feel kind of like when you pray for patience, but you're like, but I don't want opportunities to be patient. I just want to be magically able to do this. You're like, I want the miracles without the inconvenience of this interruption. Yeah.
That's the spiritual version of just give me the pill. That's going to fix it. I don't want to put in the reps. I don't want to put in the work.
No.
I just want the quick fix.
No, it's never as satisfying.
No.
So what have we learned as the wrap up? Interruptions.
We are to be interruptible and to be interrupters.
Be interruptible.
And look, when you're interrupted, let your spiritual eyes open up. Be like, all right. Where's the miracle?
Where's the miracle?
Where's the miracle? What are we looking for?
Yeah. Where's the invitation?
And then, be interrupters. What do you need to interrupt?
I get the sense, if I was a spiritual weather forecaster, I would forecast a boldness coming up. I just feel it's in the atmosphere.
It really
in
is.
You or in
not
more
only in
globally?
me, but also just in Christians worldwide. I just feel, I don't know how to describe it other than it's like the atmosphere is charged, or like you feel a storm coming in a good way. But the atmosphere is charged with, I feel like we're going to see a lot more boldness, a lot more people rising up to be who they're created to be. Hopefully a lot of people from this podcast as well. Like we play our little part in the whole grand scheme of things. But boldness, that's the word I feel.
I like that.
I'm just thinking about what would happen if we started to understand the treasure that we have. The gospel isn't just a nice story. It's not just convenient or comfortable or just to add to your life so that you can feel a little better about things. When we look at the life of Jesus and what he's done, like he gave everything. Like he held back nothing so that we could enter into this treasure with him, right? That scripture that talks about the treasure in the field. When he finds it, he goes and sells everything he has so that he can have that treasure. And that's legitimately what Jesus did for us. Like we were his treasure, and he's like, hey, I want my kids back. I want to be able to dwell among you and be with you. And here's what is costing me everything. And now same thing, be interrupted back and forth. Now he's offering that back to us, saying, this is the greatest treasure that you could ever have. And if you would understand that, you would go and purchase the field, and you would spend everything you had, and you would take that thing. And I think that's linked to the boldness you're talking about, right? As is it starts to grip our hearts in a reality and not just a little extra. I feel like in our lives, it's really easy for Christianity to kind of just, it's here, but it's kind of on the side a little bit, you know, like I got it here, you know, when it's meant to consume every part of us, our heart, our soul, our mind, everything. You know, Christianity isn't something that we're meant to put on a couple days a week or in this moment or that moment. It's like, no, like it consumes us. The love of God consumes us. And I think that's my heart and my prayer today, like for every one of us. Can we have that light switch turned on so that we can actually see the reality of Jesus, like his excellencies and his beauty and his goodness and all of that towards us. And also what he's calling us into. You know, I like it or not, I've been just going after a lot of just the life of Charlie Kirk, because it fascinates me that he lived so sold out for the Lord. And everything he did was like, you know, he was into biohacking because he wanted to be the healthiest he could, because he was on mission. And he knew who he was, and he knew who God was, and he knew he was called to speak the truth and to destroy evil. And he's like, everybody has a different call, but this is mine. And he did it with everything within himself, and everything he did in his life, he was very much on mission, as well as looking after his family, spending time with them, raising his kids, being with his wife. Like these are the main highlights that keep coming out as I'm consuming this information. And I just think about that. I'm like, God, each one of us are meant to be on mission. Like, what if you knew, you were so convicted and by the love of God, you were so filled up with the love of God, and that you clearly knew your mission, that then everything that you do just pours into that. Like, this is our path. This is where I'm going. And I don't know. It's been fascinating to see someone who is so just fully in, like, got it. And I think it's meant to be a prototype of, not that we're all meant to look like Charlie Kirk by any means. We all have different calls and it will look very different. But just that level of like, I'm on mission. This is the life God has for me. And I'm going to orchestrate everything. I'm going to eat healthy because I need to be able to fly to these different places to do these different things and all of that. To me, that was fascinating. I'm like, I want that. I want to know that clearly. Like, hey, this is what I'm called to, and just go after that because God is that good. And to make him known. I mean, that was ultimately the core of what he did, was to make heaven crowded.
Yeah. I once heard somebody equate it to, like, imagine if you possessed the cure for cancer or for every sickness and disease. Like, would you not just go out of your way to run around and share it with every single person you knew? Right? Like, if you knew that you had the definitive cure, it would cure everything. Like, it just sounds absurd. Like, for you to just stick it on your nightstand and be like, whatever.
There it is.
You would do everything. You'd probably even sacrifice sleep and whatever, creature comforts, to go and share this with as many people as possible. And I think that's the gospel, right? Like, he is the cure for everything. And he's more than that. Like, he's not just the cure, but he is the main thing, the one thing. And I think that's when we see that in people's lives that are out there promoting that, the boldness. So here's to interrupting.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what I'm hearing.
The things that need to be interrupted with the good news.
Yeah. Okay, so sitting here, and I like that we talk about these things. I think it's important. But I don't just want to talk. You know, like, how do we move beyond? So, accountability, are you ready?
Okay.
We're going to come back and do another podcast next week, because that's what we do. What's one thing you're going to do this week that's going to step you forward into what you feel like God is ushering you towards? One small action, and make it doable. I'm not saying like we have to, let's start small, baby steps.
I'm going to cure world hunger this week.
Pray for 1,000 people with deaf ears.
Yeah.
We'll just start with some things Simple,
Something
or just
simple.
ask God. God, you're
Okay.
here. If we like you, Holy Spirit, we put something on our hearts that we can take action to, so that we're not just on a podcast talking about it and not living things out. Because I would hate that.
That would be the worst.
Yeah, this is this is exciting for me because it's a good impetus. Is that the right word? A good
I have no
impetus
idea.
to.
Yeah, I don't know what that word
I
means.
don't know the word. Couldn't tell you.
It's just like the push. The push I
Oh,
need.
yes.
Yep,
Oh, okay.
To I've had an Instagram account since 2013, and I've never posted a single thing to it.
Whoa.
And it just feels like I'm just waiting for the right moment.
Mm-hmm.
And one, I'm not like a huge social media person. Like if you go to my Facebook page right now, there's like no profile photo. There's no background banner image. There's like nothing on there. It's pretty lame, but I don't really care. It's not a priority in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But just like I said, I think before with blogging, like I have so many ideas, so many voice memos, so many things that I feel like I want to share. Like I capture these voice memos and I make these notes with the desire to share them with the world one day, either through a book or through blogs or blogs that turn into a book. But I just need to start.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps between now and next week, I'll actually get something up. Maybe I'll make my first inspirational Instagram post, like with the thought
Your blog.
of inspiring others, hopefully inspiring others to find all those things, like why they are who they are in God, what treasure they have to bring to the world. Yeah. To play my part in this big story.
I like that. All right. Lee's going to start using Instagram.
Well, and Facebook or something, social media, like making more use.
You're going to make a
of-
post.
Yep.
One post by next week.
Low barrier to entry.
That's all I'm asking.
That's
I think that's doable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start an orphanage. And
Yeah, right. Whoa.
No.
Mine is so silly, but I need to do it anyway, so I might as well force myself to be accountable about it. I think a big part of this next stage for me is softening up a little bit. I'm a little bit hard. Got some thick walls, so we're working on it. But I've noticed it, and sometime last week, I was like, I actually think I need to start like writing things down, and when I'm doing my devotional or spending time with God, like not just thinking about things, but actually handwriting and journaling them, because I'm probably going to learn so much more about myself and who God is and all these things if I actually just start writing things down. And so I did it one time since last week, which is not a lot. So
One is better than none.
one is better than none, but we got some work to do. So I'm like, I'm trying to pick a number that feels realistic. I'll do 3 more.
3 journal entries.
3 journal entries before next week.
And is this a focus on trying to connect to your emotions and your feelings a little bit?
It is a process of trying to connect to my emotions and
good.
feelings a little bit. I've learned that there's more than anger and happiness and I'm supposed to feel those other ones too.
There's more
Nice, the
emotion.
emotions wheel.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen
No. My emotions wheel was, what is that?
2.
Which only got 2 sides.
halves.
2 halves. It was just 2 halves. We're working on it. We'll add some more.
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay, I am going to step out and interrupt somebody.
Whoa.
Yes, with the main goal is to try to bring an encouraging word.
Okay, yeah.
But we don't have to make it weird. So maybe it's just talking and giving an encouraging word. If I happen to pray and prophesy over them, that's a bonus.
Okay.
So
Nice.
just might need to come up with a creative way to do that, because I like to do things in creative ways. So,
You really do?
but yes, that's the goal this week.
Nice of him.
Interrupt one person.
Interrupt someone with an encouraging word from God.
I love it.
Stranger, friend, family, doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm thinking mostly at church, probably.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
There you have it.
there we have it. All right, what are you
Alright.
going to do this
Yeah.
week? Join us.
Think about it.
Dear listener, how are you going to step out and interrupt in a good way?
Yeah. Be bold.
Be brave.
Be courageous.
No.